Shabbat Shalom, my brethren. This is Peter Michael Martinez. Thank you so much for joining us here at Remnant House, the home of the strong and the very courageous. Gama Hatima Tova, Gama Hatima Tova, which means may you be sealed in the book. May you be sealed in the book of life on this day as we celebrate the feast known as Yom Kippur or Yom Kippurim. And it is the day Yom Hadin, the day of judgment, Yom Hadin. And on the Hebrew calendar, Erev Yom Kippur begins at nightfall on Tishri 9, or the ninth day of the seventh month, and continues 25 hours through the next day until nightfall. It is the one feast we are commanded, according to Scripture, to keep from evening to evening, and it is a solemn day of afflicting your soul. It is a solemn day marked, generally speaking, with complete fasting, with prayer, and for many it involves additional services and so forth to try to affect the outcome of this judgment day. And only after this did Yahuwah accept the sacrifice. And according to the traditions, of course, there were many things that would transpire. One of the great miracles that would transpire on this time would be the priest's garments, how they would turn from red to white, reminding us of Isaiah's promise in chapter 1. And in 3 separate passages in the Torah, we are told that it's the 10th day of the 7th month that shall be the day of atonement. It is a sacred occasion for you, and you shall afflict your souls. You're told that in Leviticus 16:29 through 34, Leviticus 23:26 through 32, and again in Numbers 29:7 through 11. And this is the only holy day of the year where fasting or afflicting your soul is explicitly commanded by Yahuwah. It is also known as the Shabbat Shabbaton, or a day of complete abstention from any kind of mundane work. And indeed, the Hebrew word for afflict, which is interesting, it means to humble yourself. And so isn't that interesting, tying together with the passage in 2 Chronicles 7:14, which says, if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked way, that he would hear from heaven, he would forgive your sin marked on this day and heal your land. And so don't ever think that this day of the year, is just an incidental. The Torah's name for the Day of Atonement is Yom HaKippurim, means the day of covering or canceling, pardoning, and reconciling. And so if you don't think that's an important part of your salvation, well, then you don't understand the concept. You're still struggling with it. And some people get stuck in the spring feast and don't understand how these all tie together. We're going to talk more about that. But I want to just share with you how important it is that we stay in faith during these days. And as we were traveling yesterday, in preparation and getting ready for this day, we were traveling and there were some storms. And I just wanted to share this with you because he promises in Psalm 91 that he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. And I will say of Yahuwah, he is my refuge and my fortress, my Elohim. In him will I trust. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. And so we know from his promise that he will deliver those that are under his protection. And we were driving and there was a storm coming from both directions. We had one to our left that was dropping rain. Oh my goodness. You could see the sheets of rain coming down. And if you've ever driven through the desert, you can see these things coming. I mean, it's not like there's nothing in between you, so you can see it as it's coming your way or you're driving toward it. And off to our right, wow, this was a huge storm. And it was very imposing, very intimidating. and it looked like we were going to drive right into it. It looked like it was coming, and it's going to cross that road. And anybody that's ever driven in the desert, that's ever been out in this part of the world, you know that flash flooding is a real thing. And all it takes is that storm to hit just at the time you're driving through a certain section, and that road becomes instantly, it is suddenly unpassable. It is amazing how fast that can happen. And so we're driving wondering, well, are we going to be able to get home in time for what we need to do? We're trying to get back home, and there's these two storms, and right in between the two storms is a window. A beautiful window, and as we're driving, it literally is right over the road we're on, and we're seeing this window, and we drive, and we continue to drive through. There's nothing we can do. You can't change the road, but he put the window right over the road. And so we saw this, and we rejoiced, and we continued on, and eventually the storm was behind us, and that was a beautiful thing, because now it was no longer threatening us. And as we continued to drive, he was not done demonstrating his provision, because we drove and began to see coming up over the horizon. And as I asked Mama, I said, "Oh, grab the camera. You've got to record this." And sure enough, there was a rainbow from end to end. Now, I don't know how often you see a rainbow. We see them often when we are in pivotal moments, and we continue to see them as a sign. And we're always grateful to see the rainbow, the sign of his covenant, the promise that he made. And it was an end-to-end rainbow that you could see one end to the other. And so we drove by that and just rejoiced and just thanked him as we started to, again, outrun that storm and get to the other side of it. And then finally, as we passed that apparition, if you will, that demonstration. Then up ahead, we saw a double rainbow and recorded that. Now, how often do you see a double rainbow on the road? And so we took the first as a sign of his covenant, and the second, the sign of the double portion of his blessing. And I want to just tell you, saints, we drive through storms. That's what the entire process of redemption is about. It's about getting through that storm, coming out the other side. And then when you're done, you're able to rejoice. You're able to walk into the covenant and enjoy the blessings of the covenant. And so that's why it's so important for us to remember these holy windows, to remember to abide in the secret place of the Most High, to continue to press toward the mark, the thing that he has called you and I to do. Whatever it is that we are fashioned for, whatever we're placed upon the earth to do, we're blocking sun for a reason. And it is that thing we are going to give account for. And I want to just encourage you to continue to pray for the peace of Jerusalem, to continue to pray for all of those that are awakening right now, who are looking out there. I had one sister tell me, I've had 15 different, commentaries on this subject, just talking about the calendar. We're talking about, and oh my God, I don't know which one to believe. You see, these are the kinds of things that we need to be in prayer for Yahuwah to keep settling people. He says in the scripture, after you have been suffered a little while, that he will establish and perfect you. Amen. And I'm so grateful for the confirmations that we've received, especially concerning the calendar and knowing precisely what days things fall upon, so that we're not sitting around as some are and still wondering, did we do that right? Are you on the right day? And did we do this procedure that they've come up with correctly, when he is established in his word? And we are thankful for that we can know with a certainty each day as he has allotted it in accordance to his scripture. And as we walk this out in this next season, and I pray that you are ascribed in the book of life for this season, it will be a time period where we will behold, as he says, the recompense of the wicked. The sense that I have in my spirit, my brethren, is that we are approaching and are in fact at the door of a great unsealing of that which was hidden. There are things that we have only whispers of, only scant knowledge of, and I believe that we are going to see a greater explosion of understanding our world, the truth about where we live, the truth about the behavior of those attempting to control what you understand about your world. And I believe that this is the exact thing that was prophesied about the last days, the days of his judgment. Again, Yom Hadin, the day of judgment, and the day that he is bringing about of great light. But let me encourage you to know that he loves you, that this day is about redemption. This day is not about destruction. It is those who choose to ignore it, those who choose to pretend it away as if it has no meaning. Yet it has more meaning now than ever, for we have an high priest who has passed into the heavens, who continues to this day an unchanging priesthood, who ever liveth to make intercession for you and for me. It is he that is going into the holy tabernacle on this day in the heavens to make sacrifice, to make atonement, if you will, to apply the blood, as it were, to the altar. And saints, I want you to understand that it is because you honor him, because you have humbled yourselves to pray, to seek his face, to turn from your wicked way, that this season coming will be a blessed one for you. And you will see that he has canceled the agreements. He has canceled the evil contracts. He has canceled all of the things that the wicked one would rope you with, would control you with, would keep you as a captive with. Oh, I tell you of a truth, that you are set free, for whom the Son sets free is free indeed. Now, what will you do with this freedom? You see, they were freed from Egypt when they were let out, and they were freed from the bondage of slavery, and they were given that freedom. But then what would they do with it? That was the question. Now that you're free from Egypt, does your heart still want to go back there? Or are you willing to hear the word of Yahuwah Elohim at the mountain? Are you willing to hear his word so that you understand how to enter the promised land? In the same way, in Judgment Day, in this great day, we are delivered from the snare of our enemy. Our accuser is done accusing. His accusations have been remedied on this day. And now the question is, what will your faith be as you move forward? What will you press toward? What will you do with this great gift he's given you? This is our challenge every day. And I pray that for you, your heart would be set toward honoring him, that your heart would be set toward this next season, so that when you come back around to this season again next year, you can look back with great appreciation for the changes, the improvements. You can go forward each season with greater and greater encouragement, because you continue in this process of sanctification, of being made his holy people, who understand the difference between the common, the profane, if you will, and the holy. That's one of the great lessons of this day that you pick up. And so let me just encourage you and bless you. I know that many people wanted to, they like their services, if you will. But this day is intensely personal. This day, he stands at the door and knocks. If any man will hear his voice and open the door, he will come in to him and sup with him and teach you about his salvation one on one. And nobody can do that for you. You can't go to a service and have someone do that for you. You can't have somebody up there performing spiritual activity and thereby meet the checkpoint. No, this feast requires you appear face to face with him. May Yahuwah bless each and every one of you, and remember, Yahushua HaMashiach, he alone is King of Kings. Amen.